Hi, Renee.
Hey,
Good to see you again. How are you doing?
doing all right.
Good. So I know that the last time I saw you, I gave you a pretty long questionnaire to fill out, and I just was wondering if you have any thoughts about that, or I just wanted to check in about how that experience was for you.
Yeah, it was pretty long, It's kind of hard to keep my focus because there are a lot of questions. But
Yeah.
yeah, like, it was whatever.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely a lot of questions. Did you feel like it was pretty easy to understand what was being asked of you, or did you have any questions about the purpose of the test or any of the things that you were asked?
It was pretty easy to understand. I guess I don't see why I needed that many questions to figure out what is wrong or what is going on. So, yeah, I'm not actually as clear on the purpose.
Okay, so you felt like it was a little long. I definitely agree. It's a very long assessment. It's a pretty thorough assessment. They measure several different facets of the personality, which is why the test is so long. But I hear you, and I agree that it can be a little bit of a burden. So I want to thank you again for taking it. I did feel like, it gave us some information to work with and to kind of give us some direction as we move forward together. So before I pull up the results, do you have any additional questions or comments for me about the questionnaire?
Not yet, no.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. One second, please. I'm having a hard time finding the button. There it is. All right, let me know if you can see it.
Um, I can't see it yet. Okay, now I see it.
Okay. So
Mhm.
this is just the results page. As you know, there were about 215 questions for you to fill out. And based on those questions, we scored on several different what are called personality trait facets. And the purpose of this test again is to measure different aspects of the personality that may be causing some in difficulties in your life or difficulties with relating to others or moving through your life. And as you can see, the different traits are listed here. I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see better. And then for each trait, this far right corner gives you a total score. So as I was interpreting the test results, I was looking particularly at any score that was two or higher. So you can see that some of these scores are less than two. I wasn't looking at those as much, but I was looking at the scores that were two or higher. Those were the traits that were a little bit more prominent. So as you look at these scores, do you have any questions for me?
Um, I don't really like these adjectives
Okay, can you tell me a little bit more about that?
like deceitfulness. I that doesn't sound good. Um, what is emotional lability?
So lability means something maybe changing a lot and quickly. So emotional lability would be that your emotions tend to move from one to another pretty quickly over the course of a day.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
So I noticed that you're looking at the traits of deceitfulness and emotional lability. Those were two that you scored pretty high on based on the answers that you gave to the questions. And I agree that this term of deceitfulness does sound negative. It uh, it does speak to a pattern from what you reported in the questionnaire of sometimes, using maybe not being totally truthful with others. Do you feel that this is a trait that you do have or don't have, or kind of what does that bring up for you when you see that score?
Well, sometimes you have to say things or omit things because the other person can't handle the truth. But I don't think that this is like a character trait or anything. It's just more case by case. And I honestly don't really like this um
Okay.
conversation.
Yeah.
I don't like the other ones too, like hostility. Like I don't think I'm very hostile. I just think I kind of am real and I tell it how it is sometimes.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you for sharing that with me. I think that this is some of these labels I agree are a little bit can be a little bit negative and they can be framed in a negative way. And what I would like to really look into with you is maybe we could look at how you answered some of these questions and see if there are some underlying assumptions or views about the world that you're holding that are potentially causing problems with you and how you relate to others. Um, I do want to point out that this is one test that you took and that, it's not perfectly infallible. It just gives us some data about things that we could potentially look at and work on together. So I appreciate you sharing with me your feelings as you look through these results. Before I move down to the next section, is there any other trait facet that you would like to go over specifically?
No.
Okay. So in this particular questionnaire, there are 5 different domains that are measured, and they are kind of combinations of traits that we went over. The one that stood out to me based on your score of greater than 2 was this trait of antagonism, which was a combination of manipulativeness, deceitfulness, and grandiosity. So I think this is something that we can potentially discuss a little bit more in our work together, to kind of get to the bottom of why some of these traits exist and um, sort of what purpose your view of the world is serving for you. Do you
Hmm.
have any questions about this one?
Yeah, this just all sounds so negative. I mean, maybe grandiose. That could be cool, like because I can be pretty grand, but the other ones, like how are we supposed to improve on it if I don't really agree?
Yeah. Well, I hear you, and I agree that these terms can be a little bit stigmatizing, and they can be a little bit hard to hear. What I would really like to focus on is maybe looking at the questions that fed into these results and talking about how how you came about answering the way that you did. Because what I would really like to understand is what your experience of the world is and why, what is behind the way that you approach the world. Because I think everybody has good reasons for approaching the world the way they do, and I would like to understand a little bit more about how that experience is for you.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I'd like to be able to explain that.
Yeah, so moving forward, I would like to suggest that we look at some of these questions and sort of go over them together in our next sessions to sort of understand why you answered the way you did, because these test results are not set in stone. This is just a snapshot of how you answered the questions on this specific day.
Mhm. Yeah.
Do you have any other feedback or questions about these results and about how we can move forward from here with this?
Um, how would you suggest that I start understanding how this is affecting me?
Yeah, well, I think the first step is to, like I said, look back at the questions, and I would like to understand a little bit how you're feeling about, the way that the questions were worded, and then we can move on from there.
Okay. That sounds fine.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Renee. Let's plan on meeting up again to go over the individual questions, and we can go from there.
Okay. That sounds fine.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.